Dr. Bosun Tijani, the Minister of Communications, Innovations and Digital Economy, has emphasized the necessity for Nigeria to be involved as a global powerhouse in AI development and deployment, highlighting the transformative potential of AI sector across all sectors. Tijani stressed the need for Nigeria to lead from an African perspective in AI deployment. He made this emphasis at a workshop organized in collaboration with National Information Technology Development Agency, NITDA, and the Nigerian Communications Commission, aimed to develop inclusive strategies reflecting national consensus and leveraging diversity and expertise. The workshop, titled Formulating the High-Level Strategy and Implementation Plan for National AI Strategy for Nigeria, spans 4 days and convenes over 120 AI specialists and scholars to craft a tailored AI strategy for the nation. Highlighting the undeniable presence of AI technology in Asia, America, and Europe, Tijani underscored Nigeria and Africa's imperative to keep pace with global advancement. The minister highlighted the importance of the workshop's inclusive approach, leveraging the nation's diversity and expertise to formulate a consensus-driven strategy. And the federal government has appealed to members of the National Union of Electricity Employees not to down-tool over the recent electricity tariff hike. This is as the union insisted that they would withdraw their services should the government fail to rescind its decision on the removal of subsidy on the tariff payable by Band A customers. The national president of the union, Adebi Adeyeye, in an interview on Sunday, said the union stood by its warning to the federal government. The Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission had on April 3rd raised the electricity tariff for customers enjoying 20-hour power supply daily. Customers in this category were said to be under the Band A classification, and the increase raised their tariff to 225 naira per kilowatt hour from 66 kilowatts per hour. In its earlier reaction, the union had warned the government to reverse the tariff hike, saying if the government fails to address the crippling cost of electricity, NUE will not hesitate to take strong action, including the swift withdrawal of the members expected to be used by DISCOs to impose the tariff hike on the good people to protect the livelihood of their members. Speaking with newsmen, Adeyeye said the supply of 20 hours of electricity is not feasible with the current infrastructure. While saying that the union is yet to give an ultimatum on strike, he stressed the NUE is advising the government to do the needful before they withdraw their services. It disclosed that the union must save its members from daily attacks, saying the hike would aggravate the attacks. Adeyeye said the union would not accept any threat from anyone. Meanwhile, the Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, has urged the union not to withdraw its members. In an interview, Adelabu spoke through its media aide, Bolaji Tunji, said the government was doing everything to improve supply in Nigeria and everybody will be happy at the end of the day. And now, more stories from the African scene. French President Emmanuel Macron says world donors have pledged more than $2.1 billion in humanitarian aid for Sudan after a year-long war that has pushed its population to the brink of famine. Macron spoke at the end of an international conference in Paris aimed at drumming up support for Sudan's 51 million people. The aid will go to food, water, medicine, and other urgent needs, he said, without providing a specific timeline. Top diplomatic envoys, UN officials, and aid agency urged Sudan's warring parties to stop attacks on civilians and allow access for humanitarian aid, and called for immediate international mediation efforts towards peace. Members of Sudan's civil society took part in the Paris meeting, but neither the Sudanese army nor its rival paramilitary were represented. Now, Sudan descended into conflict in April last year when simmering tensions between the military and the paramilitary Rapid Support Force exploded into open fighting in the capital Khartoum and elsewhere across the country. The United Nations humanitarian campaign needs some $2.7 billion this year to get food, health care, and other supplies to 24 million people in Sudan, nearly half its population. So far, funders have given only $145 million, about 5%, according to the UN Humanitarian Office, known as OCHA. More than 14,000 people have been killed, and at least 33,000 have been wounded in the year-long war. And on the foreign scene, Republican lawmakers in the United States have voiced criticism against the Biden administration following the release of a laptop by sanctioned Chinese tech giant Huawei, which is powered by an Intel AI chip, as reported. Now, Huawei was added to a trade restriction list in 2019 for violating Iran's sanctions, part of a broader effort aimed at limiting Beijing's technological advancement. Being on this list requires suppliers to obtain a special license before shipping to Huawei. A license granted by the Trump administration permitted Intel to supply central processor to Huawei for use in laptops from 2020. Although China hardliners had urged the Biden administration to revoke the license, it was acknowledged that it would expire later this year without renewal. The unveiling of Huawei's first AI-enabled laptop, the MateBook X Pro, equipped with Intel's new Core Ultra 9 processor, surprised and angered some lawmakers. They interpreted this as an indication that the Commerce Department had approved shipment of the new chip to Huawei. According to reports, the chip was shipped under an existing license and are not subject to recent broad restriction on AI chip shipments to China. At the Senate subcommittee hearing, Kevin Coland, an export enforcement official, acknowledged that Washington's restriction on Huawei have significantly impacted its access to U.S. technology. He emphasized that the goal is not necessarily to provide or to prevent Huawei from growing, but to prevent its misuse of U.S. technology for malicious purposes. However, this remarks did lead to elevate frustration among Republican lawmakers critical of China's action.